In this section, we will be discussing the title report. As you will recall, a report, which is also technically called a binder, is a commitment to issue a title insurance policy. This report documents what land is being insured, who the insurance is being issued to, and all of the potential problems or issues that would be accepted from coverage if they are not resolved before the policy is issued. The title report is central to each transaction that we complete. Part of your function as an account representative will be to deliver reports to our clients, as well as to sellers' attorneys and even, on occasion, bank attorneys. It is therefore essential that you have at least a basic understanding of what a report looks like and what it contains, and what the various sections are called. The application and invoice are the first 2 pages of any title report. They contain a summary of the searches run and the estimated fees that will be collected at closing. The first page, known as the application page, includes all of the relevant data that is needed to search a title and issue a policy, such as the parties involved, the property identification, the attorneys, and the purchase price and mortgage amounts. This is the same data that is included on the original application sent to us by our clients when they are ordering a title. It's just formatted a little bit differently. The second page, called the invoice, is a list of the fees that are associated with the title report and policies. The invoice is amended and updated periodically throughout the process of searching, reporting, clearing, and closing a title. There are 3 sections on the invoice. The first section includes the policy premiums and any additional endorsement charges on the file. The second section includes the charges for the departmental searches, additional searches, and any other charges that are incurred in producing the file. The third section includes the various taxes that will be due at closing. It is important to understand that the invoice is not an accurate reflection of all of our closing charges. There are some fees, such as estimated recording charges for documents and escrow service changes, that are never included on the invoice. The closer adds these fees in at the time of closing. However, it does give attorneys and their clients a ballpark estimate of what their closing costs will look like. The certification page includes much of the same information as the application. It is a certification of the policies that the title company intends to insure. Included on this page are the names of the insured, the purchaser, and the lender, the values of the policies, the address and block and lot of the property being insured, and language certifying title in the name of the current owner, also called the certified owner. This last part, the certified owner, is the most essential piece of information included on this page and is more complicated than simply listing the names on the last deed of record. The certified owner listed on the certification page is not necessarily the seller listed on the original application, or even the record owner of the property, but rather the person or people who have the right to sell or mortgage the property to a third party. There are many scenarios in which the certified owner may not be the same thing as the owner of record. For instance, if an owner dies, the certification could list the executor or administrator of the estate, a surviving spouse, the heirs, or a specific devisee as the certified owner. If an owner goes into bankruptcy, the title might list the bankruptcy trustee as a certified owner. If a mortgage on the property goes into foreclosure, the referee of the foreclosure may be listed. Knowing the name of the certified owner is important because it dictates who has the right to sell the property. If someone other than a listed certified owner is attempting to sell or mortgage the property, it will raise serious exceptions in the title report. The Schedule A is also known as the property description, or the metes and bounds description. The purpose of the Schedule A is to describe in detail the exact piece of real estate that is being sold. As a general rule, the Schedule A will give an identifiable starting point at a corner of the property and then give the exact distances and dimensions of the perimeter of the property. The end result should be a defined shape with a complete perimeter that closes. With the right tools, an individual should be able to find the property and actually walk around the exact perimeter based only upon what is written in the description. A good description is essential to a good title. If the description is inadequate, because either it is unclear or because it fails to close, it makes the title essentially uninsurable. After all, if you cannot determine the area of land you are attempting to convey, it is impossible to ensure that there are no outstanding interests in any portion of the property. It should also be noted that the description in the Schedule A must match up with the image of the property on the survey, but we'll get into more detail on that in a bit. The Schedule B is the portion of the report that lists the title exceptions that will be included as exceptions in the final policy unless they are cleared prior to closing. Every issue, every encumbrance, every potential problem that might pose a significant risk to title is listed here. There are so many possible exceptions that could be listed in a Schedule B that it would be impossible to try to list or explain them all. But there are certain exceptions that come up on a regular basis, ones that you will see time and time again, and they include any open mortgages indexed against the property, judgments and other violations against any of the parties involved, any open judgments or violations on the property, any easements that are attached to the property, the survey reading, and any potential issues that it may indicate. The Schedule B also includes many standard exceptions that are added for information purposes only. Certain exceptions, such as a note requiring that all documents be executed in black ink, can be found in every report that McGregor produces. And as a result, there is a very real risk that exceptions disclosing serious issues can get lost in the shuffle of standard language, and may therefore be overlooked and not addressed prior to closing. In order to make sure that this does not happen, McGregor makes a point of listing the most serious exceptions near the top of the Schedule B. We also mark relevant exceptions with flags in our clients' reports before we send them out. This way, the client's attention is drawn to those exceptions that require time or effort to clear. When the report has been sent to the attorneys, they can then begin the process of working with our clearance officer to resolve the issues. Once an exception has been sufficiently cleared, either by providing proofs or information, getting indemnity from prior title companies, or otherwise fixing the problems at hand, the exception is omitted from the report. Any exceptions that are not omitted from the report carry over into the policy. But because exceptions to policies represent significant title risks, a good attorney would not allow his or her client to go to closing until the risk is reduced and the exception is eliminated. A survey is essentially a scale drawing of the property and everything on it that might affect a person's ownership of the property. This includes the dimensions and location of the buildings and improvements, any boundary indicators, such as hedges, fences, or curbs, recorded or implied easements, and any other issues that would be evident upon a visual inspection of the property. There are several types of survey available, most of which cannot be used for title purposes. The information included on different types of surveys varies from a simple outline of the property to a footprint of any existing structures, to a full disclosure of all boundary markers, easements, encroachments, and structures. This final type of survey, the one with the highest level of detail, is called a title survey. It is the only type of survey that is acceptable for title insurance purposes. This is because other surveys leave out important details which may very well disclose a potential title issue. The easiest way to determine if a survey is a title survey is to see if it is a guarantee to a title company or agency. Surveys guaranteed to a lending institution are normally assumed to be title surveys as well. The survey is an essential part of the title report. A survey print is included in the report together with a reading that lists all potential encumbrances to title that are found on the survey print. This survey reading, which is essentially a written description of any relevant data shown on the survey, is included as an exception in the title policy. The boundaries of the property as drawn on the survey must match the boundaries of the property as described in the Schedule A, since both are describing the same piece of real estate. In fact, once you become familiar with the language, it is possible to create a Schedule A description from scratch just by looking at a survey of the property in question. One of the main functions of the survey is to disclose possession issues related to the property. In layman's terms, that means that the survey shows how closely the fences, hedges, and other boundary indicators match the actual lines of the property in question. If, for instance, a fence stands 5 feet on the neighbor's property, the survey will show that. The reading will list it, and the buyer will be on notice that they do not own that 5 feet of property inside the fence line. If, on the other hand, the fence stands 5 feet inside the seller's property line, it becomes a slightly more serious issue. To avoid potential future disputes and the very real liability that goes with them, the seller of the property will normally be asked to have their neighbors sign a boundary line agreement. This does exactly what it sounds like it would. It indicates that both property owners agree on the legal location of the boundary between their two pieces of property. The tax search lists all payable annualized taxes on the real estate in question, including general taxes, water meter charges, school taxes, and village taxes. Each municipality has a different set of taxes, so every tax report will include different information. The tax search shows a short, often 2-year history of what taxes were assessed, how much they were, when they were paid, and any open amounts that still are due. This is important because any unpaid taxes will remain as a lien on the real estate, and the new owner will be responsible to pay them regardless of the fact that they were accrued before the property was sold. If there are unpaid taxes from prior periods, the solution is normally to take the money from the seller in the form of an escrow at the closing. McGregor will then set up an escrow account for the money and use it to pay the taxes that are due. Any money that is left over after the taxes are paid will then be returned to the seller. The municipal searches include all of the searches that are run in the various departments of the local municipalities for liens or violations that could result in potential title risks or problems that might concern the buyer or the lender. A landmark search, for instance, will inform a buyer if the property that he or she is purchasing has been designated a historical landmark. These types of designations, if undisclosed, can cause a buyer serious headaches, especially if they had intended on demolishing, renovating, or otherwise changing the buildings that exist on the property. The municipal searches, which are also called departmental searches, that are run for a title vary from county to county. There are some standard searches that are always included, and others that are run only in the city. For instance, almost every title will include bankruptcy searches, patriot searches, a certificate of occupancy search, and a street report. An emergency repairs search, on the other hand, is normally only run in the 5 boroughs of New York City. The attachments in the property are the last item found, but they normally contain some of the most crucial information in the report. The attachment section is where you will find specific information regarding judgments and liens that have been found against the property or people involved in the transaction. Any copies of documents of record, such as easements, restrictions, deeds, or mortgages that need to be included in the report for reference will also be found in this section.